All right. Welcome back. Part 2. So, we were just talking about rental agreements. If there's anything that you want to know about renting, buying, selling, investing, flipping, getting more value, this information is available at cashcowsystems.org. Check it out. And the site is ever growing. There's so much information. The sad part about it is there's so much information, and you have so much information. The site just never looks finished. Yet to the end user, they're looking at the site and they're like, my gosh, there's a lot of information here.
And it just keeps
only
growing.
going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay. So, like a fat boy eating a cupcake. That's
There you
me.
go.
Only getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
And the other thing is it keeps growing because things keep changing in the market. And
Which is what we're getting ready to talk about.
If it's a stagnant site, it's not relevant information for you today. So that's not helping you.
So,
Market changes. Do you need updated info?
all right. So, this week and last week on the Good Life show with myself, John Robert Quinn, I was presented with something very, very interesting.
What's that?
So, you've got, I asked the client, or the guest, the client, I asked him, what is one of the ways you get an offer accepted on a home? And he said, well, of course we can make a better offer. We can offer $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 over asking in order to get the offer accepted. One of the other interesting things that he mentioned was, when I asked him why is buying better than renting, he says, because rents are going for higher than asking. And I said, well, hold on a minute. Explain that. And he says, well, in the Sacramento region, because of the tech bubble that's happening up here, we've got Amazon coming with their second facility. We've got, no, it's happening. It's a done deal.
Oh, okay.
We've got my phone ringing, and I should probably answer that. Probably the BMW dealer. We're going to get that dialed in a little bit. But the problem is that there are so few homes and so many renters that people are literally offering higher than rent asking. So, for instance, if they're asking $2,000 to rent a 3-bedroom house in Natomas, they're offering $2,300 in order to get their offer accepted in order to move in and rent that property. Now, that's great news for the rental property owner.
Maybe.
Why?
And here's the caveat to that. What's going to happen in the wonderful state of California, which is very pro-tenant, and not every state is. There are states that you get your 3-day notice and maybe you go to court and you lose in court, and 5-6 days later the constable's out there with the sheriff pounding on the front door telling you put your shoes on, grab a coat and get the hell out. It's snowing outside. And your stuff is going in the dump, storage, whatever. So California's a little nicer than that. They do some other things. But here's the problem. You're going to get people that are going to be tenant advocates for the tenants that aren't generating enough money to do that. The low income, which there's a lot of low income around. I mean, low income is now $15 an hour. $35,000 a year is low income nowadays.
I know, isn't that weird?
Yeah. So when you get these advocacy groups, what they're going to do is they're going to go out and say, we need rent control. So now, Mr. Landlord, you got forced rent control, which devalues your property because you can never raise your rents enough to keep up with the cost of repairs, the cost of taxes going up, the cost of utilities going up.
So you think that all that's going to end up doing is just creating new regulation?
It's and historically that is what it has done. You look at the Bay Area,
especially
Berkeley's
in California,
got it.
as a police state.
Well, yeah, I mean Berkeley's got it. San Francisco has it in some areas. You flip to the East Coast. Several of the boroughs in New York have rent control. And I mean, they make jokes about that on TV shows. Mm-hmm. You got an apartment in Upper Manhattan that should be renting for $12,000 a month, but somebody's great grandma's lived there for the last 30 years, and it's $1,000 a month apartment, and that's as max that it's ever going to be. And the guy who owns that building, if he's got 5 or 6 of them, how's he going to ever get rid of it?
Yeah.
Because rental property, commercial, residential, multifamily, is based on the money it generates.
Okay.
For a single-family homeowner, smaller investors that got a couple single-family homes or a duplex, it's not going to hurt them as much, but it's still going to hurt.
The question I have, though, is if they've got $2,300 a month. See, here's what's happening is you've got people that have credit challenges, they've got time on the job challenges, they've got different things that are
bankruptcy,
whatever,
foreclosure,
exactly.
whatever. Debt to income ratio that won't qualify.
Correct. And then they come in and they're saying, "Well, I'm going to pay you more." Okay, let's say greed is a factor, and they take extra $300 a month in order to get your bottom application to the top, right? Yeah. So it becomes a bidding game. Well, the guy's going to live there for $2,300 a month. I think the big question is that going to create bigger problems down the road in terms of not being able to pay the rent, not taking care of the property? There's a reason why he's got credit problems. There's a reason why he has an eviction. There's a reason why he has a bankruptcy. There's a reason why he has a foreclosure. Whatever the case is, there's a reason why his DTI is high. Whatever the case is. However, the guy gets him in the door because he's going to pay more. Well, here's the other thing, though. Are they just going to use the house as a pot house?
Yeah, God knows what they're going to use the house for. There's all of those problems. And I've helped people out. A good example, I had a friend of mine. He was a financial planner, smart guy, one of the smartest guys with money I ever met, had a rental property. Second wife, they married, kept one of the houses as a rental. Ends up getting a bad tenant, finally comes to me. I can help him get rid of the bad tenant. The next guy shows up, and he's like, well, this guy says he's a professor at a university that's overseas, but his family's here and his kids are going to be going to Sac State, and he's got $15,000 and he wants to pay me $3,000 a month, and I was only getting like $2,700 a month, and I really want the money, and he's going to do. And I'm like, so what's it say on his application? Where's he bank? Well, I haven't really done the application, but he's got a cashier's check he can give me. I go,
he might just be a terrorist.
Yeah. I'm looking at him going, so he's going to be working at a university overseas. His wife and kids are going to be here. They just moved here from some Midwest state. He doesn't have a bank, but he's got a cashier's check.
Seems really odd, doesn't it?
Why are you not seeing red flags? You're a financial planner.
Maybe he's
Why
colorblind.
Are you only seeing...
He's seeing gray flags.
He's seeing green money, and I'm like, dude, you're seeing short-term chump change money for a long-term problem.
Yeah.
You got follow the procedure. It's there to protect you. It's also there to protect the tenant. I mean, think about it. It's exactly what you said. Somebody jumps in and goes, look, I can really pay $1,800 a month, but I really want this place. I want these schools. I want this neighborhood. So if it's going to cost me $23, I'll figure out how to come up with another 5 bills a month. I'll get it from somewhere. Well, all of a sudden the car note don't get paid because he's going to be smart enough to pay the rent.
No, let's say that
credit card don't get paid.
Let's say that
he's going to have a problem paying you eventually.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Let's go to a break. The question I'm going to come back and ask you is, so the audience listening, stay tuned. What if there are 5 like applicants and they're all qualified and they're all like primo? They got 7.25 FICOs. All they're doing is holding to buy a home in 2 years, whatever the case is. And the one person comes in